Hey guys, this is Nikolai Poznikov, and today I want to show you a new application I created. It's called Offline Review for Relativity. This is a Windows desktop application that's able to connect to a Relativity review environment. You can download a local copy of a document, perform review, and then synchronize your work back to the server. Let me show you how it works. Double click on the icon. And the first thing I have to do, like with any Relativity installation, I have to log in. So I will specify my server name, and you know this is an HTTPS. It's a secure connection. You will enter your username and password, and you click Save Server Details. This will download a list of workspaces, and you'll be able to move to the next step, which is your data selection. You will need to choose your workspace, and we're going to use our trusty Enron case. And now we're going to choose what data we'll be working with. Is this going to be a saved search or a view? Those are the only two options. You cannot access folders. And I'm going to click on my object, which in our case is a saved search, and I'll just select my saved search that we'll be working with. And I'm going to click on Save and Close. And this will grab all the information about workspace. It'll download a list of fields, and it'll grab a quick list of documents. Now we can take a look at some of the features of the application. Before we jump into the review, let me show you a couple of quick admin tools I have. First admin tool is user management, and here you can enable and disable users. So we can see all the users in the environment. We can see only active users or inactive. If we want to enable a user, all we have to do is click Enable, and this user will now appear in the active section. Same way we can remove a user, and now this user will be disabled. Just like that. This change actually happens on Relativity server right now. This is an online feature. Another feature we have is a group manager. Here we can add users to groups and remove users from groups. So as an example, I can choose my Relativity script admin, and I can take a user and add them. A short delay, and the user is part of this group. In the same way we can remove the user. Now we can move on to our document review. I'm going to go to Documents, and I'm going to open my document grid. This document grid will show me the documents I have that exist in a safe search I selected earlier. These are the documents. It's just a document list. It does not have any metadata yet. We can navigate through documents by clicking back and forth arrows. We can go to the document menu, and if the documents in the saved search had changed, we can click on Reload Document List from the server, and this will go ahead and refresh the query. Refreshing the grid will just refresh documents from the local cache. If we want to download our documents metadata, we can click on Download Documents Metadata button, and this will start the process. So on the bottom here, you'll see that the process has started, and if I refresh the grid, you'll see the metadata starts appearing. If we interested in seeing documents metadata and extracted text, we can use this button. And if we want to cancel the process, we can use Cancel Documents Download. So let's take a look at how we can work with this grid. I'm going to go to Field Selector, and I'm going to choose a simple field selector first. I'm going to put this right here, and I see that some of the fields are empty, so I'm just going to uncheck them. But what happens is that grid doesn't refresh automatically, so you have to go to Refresh Grid, and you'll see the change. Another way of working with grid is using Advanced Field Selector, and here we can remove fields, or we can move them around. So we can put the fields in order from to CC and subject, and we can get rid of identifier, and again we would refresh our list, and now we can see our metadata. One of the fields we can bring in is extracted text. which will actually show up right in the grid here. So I'm going to click on extracted text, refresh my grid, and now you see that field is right here. Another way to rearrange fields is just dragging them. So now if we want to see this extracted text, we would go to Documents, Download Metadata and Text, and this extracted text will be populated. Another way of working with extracted text is actually bring up a panel that will show you all of the extracted text of a document. And so now if I click on a document, application will go to the server and download this extracted text live. So as I click on the documents, application goes to the server and grabs it. So you see it takes about half a second to do that. Now if I refresh my grid, you'll see how my extracted text is populated here. Now we didn't use our advanced field selector to move the fields around, so that's why the field jumped back to where it was before. So let's put it here. So these are the documents we looked at, and the extracted text for them is saved locally. So now if I click around, you could see how responsively the data loads. And if we go to some of the documents where we don't have extracted text, it'll take about half a second or so to do that. If you don't want to wait, just go ahead and click on Download Metadata and Text, and this will start loading extracted text for all the documents. And you can see that here, that extracted text starts to appear for other documents. There we go. And we can cancel this process if we don't want to wait. So we'll refresh the grid. And so from here you can start your review by looking at metadata and extracted text. Alright, let's continue further exploring our view menu. So I'm going to slide extracted text to the side, and I'm going to open something that I called a metadata view. And this metadata view allows you to build your own view of different metadata fields. So I'm just going to go to Select Fields, and I'm going to add my say from to CC subject and extracted text. So now when I click on a document, you see that I have a view that is similar to the extracted text. However, I have built this view. I chose which fields I want to show up, and I chose which field in which order I want to see them. This would be very useful if you have, let's say, production numbers, which you can insert into the document, and you will be able to see them right on top of the document. And you can move fields around any way you want to. Alright, so now let's say you want to actually do the actual review and you want to edit fields. There are a couple of ways we can do it. One is we can use Field Editor, and here we can select which fields we want to display. So I'm going to add let's say an author field and confidentiality designation, maybe issue designation, and privilege designation. Now unfortunately at this time I'm not able to access Relativity's layouts, so I'm not able to just display them in this application. You will have to add those fields to the field editor screen. So now if I click on a document, you'll see how my fields were just populated. And in my field editor, now I can enter some information. So I can enter an author, I can select my confidentiality designation and privilege and so on, and I can click on Save. I can move on to the next record, and again I can do my coding. So I can either use Save or Save and Next, which will automatically advance me to the next document. Now, as I said, this is an offline review. So the way we can do this coding is we can do this in either a connected manner or we can disconnect from the server. So in order to see how this works, I'm going to slide this panel to the side, and I'm going to show you something called Transaction Manager. Transaction Manager is a background service that communicates with Relativity. So anytime I make a change to a document and click on Save, I automatically add a transaction to my Transaction Manager. And this has a countdown running, so once it reaches 0, you will look right here, these transactions will be committed and saved to Relativity server. If I want to do review completely offline, I can click on this timer, and now anytime I make a change and save, these changes will not be written to Relativity until I click the Commit Pending Transactions button. So we can go to a Relativity and take a look at how that works. Again, I'm using the same Enron data case. I'm going to jump into my saved searches, and this is the saved search I've been working with. So you see we've coded some documents. So if I go to my document 478, which is this guy right here, I'm going to click on Commit Pending. This will run, and if we refresh this view, you see that these changes have been saved to Relativity. And while we are in Relativity, I want to say thank you to vDiscovery for letting me use their Relativity testing environment to record this video. Next, review feature that people have been asking for is editing documents in the grid view. Let me show you how that works. I'm going to close my field viewer. I'm going to clear my committed transactions, or I can clear them all, and I'm going to go to my grid view. And I'm going to go to Advanced. I'll get rid of all these fields, and since we've been using author field, let me add that. Going to refresh my grid, and I'm going to just enter some random characters, and you see as I enter them, they automatically being added to my Transaction Manager. So if I let it resume, you'll see how it'll be committing transactions as I add new ones. And if we jump to Relativity, we'll see that our author field has been updated. And now the timeout expired again, and our transactions have been saved to Relativity. Alright, and that's how this works. If you want to close Transaction Manager, you can just click on the Hide button, and this will run in the background. I don't recommend you creating too many transactions in the Transaction Manager, because if the application crashes or your computer crashes, you will lose those changes. There will be a button in the next version to save your current transactions. I'm not implementing it right now for a reason, because I'll be making a lot of changes on the back end, so I don't want to create it for one version and then people would not be able to import their transactions into the newer version. I want to finalize my Transaction Manager structure, and then I'll add the save and load buttons. So what you'll be able to do is download your documents, disconnect from the internet, go somewhere far away where there is no internet connection, do your review, come back to the office, load up your transactions back, hit synchronize button, and all the changes will be written to Relativity. You can do that right now, but the only trick is you should not close the application. If you close the application, or if your laptop crashes, your transactions and your local documents will be lost. Alright. If you want to access a different saved search, you just click on the Connect button again, and you just choose your different workspace, and you choose different object where to get the documents from. So how do you get this application? Well, go to edg-tools.com and click on the request serial number. Fill out all the information and scroll down to application you request a serial number for. Choose offline review for relativity, and this will sign you up to be a beta tester. Once the beta program is over, which will be about a week or so, the application will show up on the Windows apps, and you can click on the application name, and that'll tell you all the info you need to know in order to get the final version of this software. Thank you for watching. Bye.